University after finding a former tutor helped 12 athletes complete coursework.
3 of the school's big sports programs are facing wide-ranging penalties.
Now I kind of feel like we're the butt of the joke, I guess.
Tiger fans are reacting to the news.
No, this is cheating. That's not okay.
It's kind of a bummer.
School officials and the head football coach are pushing back.
I believe in doing things the right way, and we're going to continue to do things the right way.
The future of 3 teams and hundreds of athletes hangs in the balance.
KOMU 8 News at 6 starts now.
KOMU 8 News starts with breaking news.
Shocked and dismayed, that's how MU officials are reacting to the NCAA penalties handed down today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. The NCAA put the squeeze on MU after findings of academic fraud. Chris Trevino joins us now with more on MU's reaction. Chris.
Okay, Jim, Emily, thanks. The NCAA bans Missouri's football team from postseason play after this coming 2019 season. It also banned the Tiger baseball and softball teams from postseason play in their 2019 seasons that start in the next few weeks. The postseason bans, scholarship reductions, and recruiting restrictions. Harsh punishment for Mizzou. Too harsh, according to Tiger Athletic Director Jim Sterk, who says the school will appeal.
Moved swiftly and cooperated with the NCAA. So I certainly don't think that these penalties are reflective of what we expected for self-reporting. I believe in doing things the right way, and we're going to continue to do things the right way. It'll be months, not weeks. So I don't know, and I just can't guess on that timeline.
Timeline for Missouri's appeal. Missouri head football coach Barry Odom tweeted his support for Mizzou in the process, calling the NCAA's decision unjust and unfair to everyone. Odom saying he stands behind School Chancellor Alexander Cartwright and Athletic Director Sterk's statements. He says he's looking forward to doing whatever he can to help with the appeals process. Quote, "Together we will fight for this great institution. I will damn sure fight for my team," end quote. Earlier today, NCAA officials explained their reasoning for the sanctions brought down on MU. We have live team coverage. Let's start with KOMU 8's Garrett T.S., who is on the phone to hear the NCAA reasoning. He joins us live from Faurot Field with the NCAA's side of the story.
The NCAA says a former MU tutor, Yolanda Kumar, completed assignments, quizzes, and exams for 12 athletes. Investigators say she completed an entire course for 1 student athlete and completed parts of a placement exam for 2 student athletes. The sanctions include a 2019-2020 postseason ban for the football program, a 2018-2019 postseason ban for the baseball and softball programs. There are also 3 years of probation and some recruiting restrictions for those 3 sport programs. Kumar said her bosses pressured her to help athletes graduate, but the NCAA said that's not what the investigation showed.
Enforcement went ahead and interviewed a number of other people at the institution, and there was no evidence to corroborate or support the assertion that she was pressured or compelled to do this by others.
There's a rule that allows, under certain circumstances, players to transfer without sitting out their next season. Mizzou Athletic Director Jim Sterk plans to immediately appeal these sanctions. Reporting live from Faurot Field, Garrett T. is KOMU 8 News.
Chris, this is tough if you're a senior football, baseball, softball player.
No question. It's their final season of eligibility, and of course Mizzou now appealing this process. So this is going to take, as Jim Sterk said, not weeks but months, maybe up to a half year. Well, baseball starts in a couple weeks. Softball starts next week. Football will not start until the fall, but it'll be interesting how it unfolds, the appeal process, and how it affects those teams. And of course it's still going to remain to be seen if, in fact, the postseason ban is upheld for all 3 of those sports. But oftentimes they can transfer. But again, the time is against them, especially for the 2 spring sports, which are just about here.
Right. Definitely some long-term impacts then.
Long-term impacts, and we'll have more about a particular football player coming up later in sports that I know folks are interested in. And the investigation, of course, goes beyond the field and classroom. How about all those fans who spend so much of their money to see these teams and root them on towards what they hope will be postseason play? Well, they're letting their opinions known. KOMU 8's Savannah Rudisell talked with MU loyal fans today, and she is live at the MU training complex to let us know their thoughts.
Tiger fans are disappointed, to say the least.
Many of them told me that they think the sanctions are too harsh, and most say there's blame to go around.
It's discouraging, that a few of these teams are, no matter how well they do next season, it almost kind of doesn't matter.
There's always going to be that bitter rival between Missouri and KU and Arkansas, and now I kind of feel like we're the butt of the joke, I guess.
Pretty much all throughout my tenure at Mizzou, it seemed like one thing kept happening after another and another, and it's kind of a bummer. I hope that we're able to kind of learn from the mistakes of this and move forward.
It's cheating. That's not okay. The fact that they're facing penalties makes a lot of sense to me. But it's the athletes and the tutor. Everyone there knew, and that shouldn't have happened.
I would hope that with our athletic program and the leadership that we have in place, that integrity would be a piece.
These fans told me that they'll still support Mizzou athletics no matter how hard this news is to take. Reporting live in Columbia, Savannah Rudisell, KMU 8 News.
Now, here's the timeline of how we got here. Yolanda Kumar thrust herself into the spotlight in November of 2016 when she left her job at MU as a tutor and confessed on Facebook to academic fraud. In March 2017, she tried to sell her documented evidence of academic fraud to anyone who wanted to help pay off her debt.
Last April, she received a letter from AD Jim Sturck saying an internal investigation found that she did give benefits to student athletes. In June, MU representatives had a hearing with NCAA folks over the allegations. We'll have a reaction coming up at 9 and 10 from a former Mizzou football player who says the punishment does not fit the crime. If you want a peek at that story beforehand, you can go to our website, KOMU.com.
In other news, the St. Louis Police Department had a news conference today to discuss the loss of Officer Caitlin Alex. Officer Alex was fatally shot in a game of Russian roulette with a fellow on-duty police officer. Investigators say that officer was Nathaniel Hendren. The police department came out completely against the actions of the department. They said they will develop a new way to hold their officers accountable.
Effective immediately, commanders and supervisors will personally attend roll calls, stressing to our officers the importance of patrolling according to district priorities and beat integrity.
Hendren was freed from jail today after posting a $10,000 bond. He was originally held on a $50,000 bond.
Coming up, so many games, so many bets. Imagine Missouri gamblers betting on the Super Bowl legally.
Plus, Mid-Missouri firefighters are warning homeowners to watch out for an invisible killer.
The warmer air is so close to us right now. It's 37 down at the Lake of the Ozarks, still holding on to the 20s here for most of mid-Missouri. Taking a look at our forecast for tonight, 26 degrees at 9 o'clock. I think we could see some drizzle and freezing drizzle develop. Fog for tomorrow morning and cloud cover tomorrow afternoon. We're talking about a weekend warm-up in my full forecast in just a bit.
Well, it's almost Super Bowl time, and millions of Americans will be placing wagers on the game, whether it's legal or not.
Although about 1 million Missourians gamble illegally, sports betting is still not allowed in the state. KOMU 8's Monica Madden explains.
And we have a winter weather advisory in effect for areas along and south of I-44. A glazing of ice is possible tonight. This only includes Marys County in mid-Missouri. We'll talk about what you can expect overnight for the rest of us coming up in my full forecast in just a little bit.
You can't ever be with her. Because even if you tell her what you are, there are too many secrets.
Hold me.
The Columbia Fire Department reminds everyone to update your carbon monoxide detectors after responding to 4 calls yesterday. During the wintertime, fuel-fired appliances are used more often. These can release carbon monoxide if they're not working properly. Now, if detectors have a weak battery or not working at all, you could be poisoned and not even know it.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas, so you're not going to know that it is in your home unless you have a detector or you start feeling symptoms.
Fraser says you should replace your detector every 5 to 7 years and check the batteries regularly.
Well, skaters are on the ice at Stevens Lake Park, but as temperatures warm up, Columbia Parks and Recreation is taking all precautions to make sure ice skaters know when to stay off the lake. KOMU 8's Antoinette Miller is here to explain what the Parks and Rec Department is doing.
While Stevens Lake Park remains the only lake Columbia Parks and Recreation's regulated as safe to skate on, the rise in temperatures this weekend is forcing the office to close the lake tomorrow by 5 p.m. Parks and Recreation tested the ice by drilling to make sure it was at least 4 inches thick from the shoreline to the center of the lake. The Department of Fire Safety stated that although bodies of ice may be several inches thick, they aren't 100% safe. However, Columbia Parks and Recreation says it is monitoring the ice often to ensure its safety.
Park Ranger will be out kind of patrolling the area over the weekend just to make sure people aren't out there because when you start to see temperatures get to 50s and 60s, then you can start to have some levels of ice that may not be 4 inches.
Parks and Recreation reminds skaters to not congregate in one spot on the ice and to only skate during the daytime. In the studio, Antoinette Miller, KMU8 News.
Yeah, that ice certainly isn't going to be lasting for long. Taking a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport, the sun has set. Still a lot of cloud cover out there, though. Warmer temperatures are on the way. Right now, we're at 25 degrees at the Columbia Regional Airport. You can see some of that warmer air off to our south, 40 in Little Rock, but that colder air still certainly impacting the northern parts of the country. -4 the current temperature in Chicago, feeling like -11 in Des Moines. 17 above is what it feels like in Columbia, so that is a big improvement compared to yesterday. 38 in Wichita and 37 in Little Rock. Closer to home, we have a big difference in that wind chill factor across the region. It currently feels like 7 up in Moberly. It feels like 32 down at the Lake of the Ozarks. So there's that concentration of warmer air that's going to push to the north and east as we go through the overnight hours. By 10 o'clock, many of us feeling like the 20s, but our northern counties likely still feeling around the 10-degree mark in Moberly. Even the single digits up in Macon. But by tomorrow morning, I anticipate those wind chills to be widespread in the 20s and 30s as those temperatures slowly start to rise. I think we'll have a low in the middle 20s tonight, but I think that happens around midnight. Satellite and radar shows the cloud cover across our region, but the big thing that we're going to be watching through the evening hours is this moisture currently down towards Springfield, tracking to the north and east along the I-44 corridor. This is going to be freezing drizzle and freezing rain that's going to continue to push to the north and east through the evening hours. This could create some slick spots tomorrow morning. That's why we do have a winter weather advisory in place until 9 a.m. Friday for these purple shaded counties. This is for that freezing drizzle. I do think we could see a glazing of ice in those areas. Now here in mid-Missouri, the only county included in this is Marys County. The rest of our viewing area not included in this, but I do expect some fog to develop, and with temperatures below freezing, that could certainly create a patchy slick spot or two. Nowcast shows that precipitation staying along and south of I-44 as we deal with the cloud cover across our area. By the afternoon tomorrow, we may see just a little bit of sunshine across the region, but look what happens as we head into the 10 o'clock hour. We see some rain showers develop. We're going to be well above freezing at this point, and I think that rain is going to be very light in nature, just some patchy drizzle across the region. So here's that forecast for the weekend. 44 degrees tomorrow. That drizzle in the latter part of the day. Heading into Saturday, we'll see drizzle in the morning, mainly before noon, and by the afternoon, a few peaks of sunshine, a high near 58 degrees. By Sunday,